You are muted, Weaver. There we go. Cord issues. Minor technical difficulties. Hang with us.
You got me?
I'm getting audio there, yep.
There it was. Okay, well, not my fault this time. A little technical glitch there. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back in to a production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. This is going to be our weekly roundup show that we plan on doing either every Monday or every Tuesday. We'll see how it goes going forward. I'm joined, as always, by Dwayne, one of the co-commissioners of the league. Dwayne, how you liking the action so far in week one?
I mean, Weaver, as many of you already know, I'm sipping hard on the parody Kool-Aid, and this week has completely pleased me. There's been so much moving and shaking across the board. The top 8 players have been blown wide open by movements in the rankings. Lots of great action in AAA as well. People putting runs up across the board, pitching duels going on. I really can't be more pleased with everything that's gone on so far this year.
Yeah, a lot of upsets already. I mean, we're only one week in, and there's just been some crazy games.
Huge
Can't wait
games.
can't wait to dive more into it. We're gonna kick things off with our AAA rankings. So, Dwayne, whenever you're ready, let's bust those bad boys out.
Right in between me and Weaver here, we are going to pop them up for you. Let's drag them here, and we can start from the bottom. Our AAA rankings rounding out, we'll go, I guess, about 3 at a time with 19, TTV Captain Krill, a XBL veteran Casino at 18, and Phillies Rock 29 at 17, another veteran from the XBL seasons past. So down at the bottom, I believe 2 of those teams are winless. Phillies Rock has achieved, I believe, 1 win so far.
Right.
Pretty lacking on the hitting end from all of those clubs. It's been a quiet season thus far. They're all searching for some early wins. As we all know, the playoff tournament's going to be really important as far as seeding goes in AAA. Do you have anything to add to those, Weaver?
I was gonna point out as we move up the list, some somewhat inspiring performances from Kale, Onion, and even Blazer and No Name. Actually, No Name was ranked a bit higher. It's if you're a fan of No Name, you probably are upset to see him this low
For sure.
as compared to where he was preseason. But the other 3 below him have kind of shown out so far.
Yeah, I would say so. They've both held, or all 3 of them have really held their own. Blazer knows what it is to be in the XBL. He's competed in the highest level of the competition in seasons past. But an 0-4 start to start off his week hasn't been great. I think there was a mercy or 2 in there as well. We are pretty confident he's going to be able to get back on his horse soon and win a couple ball games. Half Onion and Kale, they've been absolutely great rookies so far. Half Onion representing PS4 solely in the AAA, so got to show some love there. Great logo, great team, great name, all that stuff. Lanky Kale as well, a pull from, I believe, the Starting 9 Discord, so welcome Kale. He's doing great so far with his Run the Jewels Club. I'm eager to see what we can see out of this bottom half, especially when they're all starting to play each other a little bit. A lot of these teams should be gathering a few more wins.
Yeah, and moving up the list, just above No Name is another Canadian in Mondieu, and above him we've got Job, Cougar, and one of the big surprises, I guess you could say, of week one, Timbo Slice was ranked pretty darn low, I believe, in the preseason rankings. He's had a heck of a good first week.
Yeah, I would say so. Right there at number 9, Timbo coming down from the top. He's really locked it down on the mound. He's hasn't really shown a huge amount of run scoring ability early in the season, but he's shown an ability to keep the other team from scoring, and that's garnered him, I believe, 2 to 3 wins here in the early going. Cougar is still a bit of an unknown factor. He's a PR stalwart, so he's welcome here, and he's getting a little bit more used to the 80, 90, 90, 90, as a lot of these other guys are. So we'll see where his Lone Stars shake up moving forward. Job is another veteran who very recently, as recently as season 7, was able to perform a playoff upset over Bice/Government. So he knows what it is to be in the heat of the competition. Sitting at 11, expect Job to probably move up going forward. He's going to be looking for some really important wins this week. And yeah, 12 and 13, you have our French-Canadian pair. We have our contingent there. Both pretty similar as far as, I think, builds go, but Mondu is a different player than No Name. Just because they're both Canadian, they have no bearing on the way they play baseball. No Name with that extremely speed first with decent gloves, pitching approach. Mondu has shown early he's had an ability to score runs and also hold his opponent. So rounding out the 9 through 19, I'm pretty confident that we're going to see some good action. Let's bring it down from the top here.
Yeah, as we get into the top 8, it's going to be Rainy, Wishbone, Phil, B. Hagen, Corruptions, Mers, Paladin, and Pizza Volcano, the rookie, at the top spot.
Yeah, a lot of love going around for Pizza Volcano so far in the early going here. The ability Pizza's shown to score runs and keep the other team from scoring, as I keep saying, has giving them a really early 8-0 record. Same with Jam Paladin. Jam Paladin's putting up mercies across the board. He's pitching when he needs to. He just came off a nice win against Phil in extra innings. You love to see that. Sitting at number 3 is another huge vet in Merzadrone. He's been through it for I think 4 seasons now with us. So he really knows what it means to be in this high level competition. He's got 1 loss in his belt so far, but recently just beat B. Hagen again tonight. So he's showing out. He's ready to possibly try and make a push for those 1-2 spots as well. Corruptions has been great so far. He's
undefeated, I believe, is Corruptions as well.
yes, undefeated. He just has a couple games below the other 2 guys. He's not getting as much love as those top 2, but I would definitely watch out for him. He's got a great ability to put the bat to the ball and send it out of the ballpark. We saw in his match of the week in the beginning of week 1 that he has a great eye and a great ability to select pitches for himself to hit.
Yeah.
At number
Right.
you can go down
Go,
number
go
5.
for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, number 5, we have B. Hagen, our 3rd Canadian in AAA. He is definitely in a decent position here. He's got to garner some wins off the top half. If he can garner a few of those wins, he can push himself up these rankings. He's shown an astute ability to put the bat to the ball and pitch deep into ball games. He's played a few extra inning games so far, I believe he mentioned, and they've been a little bit of a grind, but going forward, I'm confident that B. Hagen's going to be able to put up some fireworks. At 6, we have newcomer Phil. He was our first recruit, I believe, after Super Mega Baseball 3 came out on the Xbox end. So he's been grinding. He's been around all off season, and it's showing through here, coming in at number 6. He's definitely showing an ability to play Shaco well and score runs when he needs to. His dual monsters are definitely a strong team to go up against. At number 7, we have our newest newcomer, I believe. Wishbone was one of our final additions to AAA for the season. Wishbone just recently coming off in Mercy, where he hit 9 home runs, merely less than an hour ago. So look for Wishbone to keep putting bat to the ball. We like to see dingers in this league, and they usually get you pushed up the power rankings. So if he can keep up some stuff like that, he should be in good shape. And rounding out our top 8 is Rainey, someone I would consider extremely pitching first. He's coming off a perfect game today against Krill, so congratulations, Rainey, on that. At number 8, his run scoring ability and his ability to convert runs have been a little bit lacking. His pitching is extremely good, so if he can put all 3 of those things together, he's going to see himself going deep into this race too. And as we know, anything can happen in the AAA playoffs, as a lot of these guys are built for a longer series than 2 games.
And before we move on, I just want to point out real quick, as so many have just done in the chat, looks like B. Hagen has dealt Pizza Volcano his first loss of the season, 10-3.
Oh,
So a week from now, we'll take a look at this list and see how it shapes up.
yeah, absolutely. As we're coming in here, there are still games going on, so very great to hear that there's some action going on. Pizza's been defeated, as you say, and AAA is starting to shape up to be just as competitive as the XBL, in my opinion.
All right, and so those are your week. After 1 week of play, those are your AAA power rankings. We're going to move on now to the XBL power rankings, and just by the nature of how they're presented, we are going to be able to unveil them a little bit slower and go a little bit more in depth. So as soon as we get those switched over here,
ready?
we'll unveil those. Yep.
All right.
All right. Rounding us out at the bottom is No Hummus, Ryan, and Alec. Both Ryan and No Hummus averaged half a run per game. That's pretty much exactly why they're placed where they are. And then Alec, who was ranked fourth going into the season, falls all the way to 17.
Yeah, tough early going as far as Alec goes. He's one of our biggest movers on the downward trend. I believe he is the biggest mover on the downward trend. At 1-9, he hasn't really been able to get on his horse just yet. He hasn't been able to show that astute power hitting prowess that he showed in Super Mega Baseball 2. But as he continues to grind, I'm thinking he's going to be able to make a decent push for some playoff positions. He's definitely going to need to win a few games against the lower half and possibly steal a series or 2 off the top half.
Yeah, and like you said, moving down 13 spots for Alec, that is the biggest jump. Actually, it's tied for the biggest jump, but this is the biggest negative jump on the list. We'll get to other jumps later, and I think we can move on to the next 3. Doso's Firebirds, Mantis's Jabronis, and the Cardiac Cardinals are your 16, 15, and 14 teams.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Doso, one of three teams that did not move any ranking in this week's ranking. So at 1-5, he's sitting solid, about where we're going to expect him. He's pitching first, and his deep bullpen approach has garnered him one win so far in the early going. Let's see if he's able to get a few more of those. Mantis at number 15. Do you have anything to add about Mantis, Weaver?
Mantis, let's see. So if memory serves me, he split with BK, he split with Chris, and I believe he was swept by Pseudo.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So those a split versus BK and a split versus Chris, that's really good. Anytime you can walk away not getting swept by either of those guys, you take that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Mantis does a great job of trying to control the ball game, utilizing hit and runs, utilizing his defense. So an ability to get 2 wins off of some decent players in the early going, that's going to be big for the Junkyard Jabronis going forward.
I do want to add before we talk about Cardiac real quick, that one win that Doso had was a no-hitter versus Finite, who is ranked even higher on this list. So
sheesh.
Shout out Doso.
Yeah, that is that flew under my radar, but yeah, that is definitely something to commend. A no-hitter in the XBL, especially in the regular season, that's huge. We've had very, very few, if any. So that's absolutely a big moment for Doso.
Then at 14 with Cardiac Card, 3 and 7, maybe a little deceptive. He's been pretty good on the mound. In fact, one of those 3 wins was a shutout against one of the more higher ranked players on this list, Light Snack.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you've hung around the XBL long enough, you're going to know that Cardiac is absolutely a pitching first player. He's got Von Asens in his cabinet from seasons past. So he's going to be out on the mound with a plan. He pitches very cerebrally. And then when he's at the dish, he does his job. He'll run into a few homers. He'll hit and run and move base runners over. He'll steal. He'll do everything he needs to do to scratch across a few runs. So yeah, in the early going, he's gotten a few decent wins. I believe he's also just come off a sweep against Jay Boops this evening. So look for the Cardiac Cardinals to be pushing towards that playoff position.
All right, and as we move up on the list, 13, 12, and 11, it's the Base Invaders, the Miners, and the Colts. A -10 drop for BK. That is one of the bigger drops. The offense really wasn't there for him this week, but a veteran like BK, it wouldn't surprise anyone if he turns it around here soon.
No, absolutely. BK's got all facets of his game at a fairly high level. So if he can find a way to get back on the fastball, hunt strikes, and score runs when he needs them, you could very much see that 13 and that 10 flipping back upside down and heading back up the ladder.
Yeah, and then here at 12 and 11, a couple of players who moved twice. Finite moving up 2, Boops moving down 2. What can you tell me about Finite's 4 and 4?
Finite's 4 and 4 has been a strong 4 and 4 thus far. He's gone after, I believe, Lazy, and then had a couple splits along the way. But World Series pedigree as far as the Joplin Miners go, he's been here since season 1. He knows what it is to play in a 9-inning baseball game. He's always had the ability to hit clutch home runs. He's always had the ability to get deep into ball games with his starting pitching. So if you aren't aware of how the Miners play baseball or what they're going to bring you to the table, you should start paying attention because they could easily come higher than this 12 spot and steal wins off of teams that aren't expecting them.
And then J Boops here at 11 is pitching first. Approach was definitely on display in week 1. He started Mike's season out for him earlier, and I believe both games were super close. I know he shut him out in the first one. So some good pitching there from Boops.
Yeah, Boops has been involved in multiple shutouts as far in that 10 and 10, or 5 and 5 and 10 games that he's got going on there. His bat has been pretty quiet, but he's been working hard to catch up to the fastball. That's what I hear on the street. And believe it or not, he's got over 100 strikeouts through 10 games, which is,
that is
nearly double what the second place person has, which would be Pseudo, and then followed by myself and I think Ashnod, all over 50 strikeouts or so. So that's absolutely big for the Colts. If they can keep up the pitching, they can and put the hitting together, they'll be moving up this board as well.
Yeah, excellent numbers there from the Colts. And moving up the list here, we're going to get to 10, 9, and 8. That is Ted Danson, Chris, and Pseudo.
Yes, sir.
And so Ted, we'll talk about Ted here real quick. He's 4-2, great showing through 6 games. And he's had some pretty good offensive output. I've got here he scored 5 on Alec, 10 on you, Dwayne, and
Yes.
6 on Cardiac.
Yeah, if you're not expecting it and you're playing in the right ballpark for a team like Danson's Dragoons, you're going to get bit by a few long balls because Ted has now incorporated the power swing into his approach. Like you said, he scored 5 against Alec, 10 against me, and what was that against Cardiac? Or who was it?
6.
6 against Cardiac. So yeah, decent five plus run games early from Ted. He's a contact master. A lot of that know it. A lot of people around here know that. So what's really carried him though is I believe if you look at the website, his pitching stats are currently number one. His batting average against is below
Right.
130. So that's carried him into some deep ball games, some extra inning ball games. And at 4-2, he's looking to climb this ranking, going down to kind of take it or leave it if you're Ted. I don't think that really reflects the performance that he's put at fourth in his first week.
Yeah, lots of room there for lots of room down here for sure for teams to move up, move down. We'll see how it shapes out in the next week or so. Here at number 9, we've got Chris and the Area 51ers coming off an opening day sweep against J Boops' great pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in the time since that opening day matchup, I believe Chris has upgraded his computer and
Yes.
has said to us that it's made a huge difference. We could see some great things out of Chris going forward.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how that plays out for him. An early 4-2 record is definitely something that you're happy about if you're a 51ers fan, if you're the 51ers manager and Chris. He's got those rotation aces. You know, you saw Gunga Malunga put up a great opening day performance. So the big thing for Chris is going to be putting runs up on the board instead of keeping them off. And if he can do that, I think the 51ers are going to stick right around these middle to top rankings, and they could make a push too if they're able to win the games they're supposed to win.
And we've got Pseudo and the Fuegos here at 8. It's a -3 drop for him, but I don't really think it's any fault of his own. He has played some super tough opponents. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I believe he may be the only one who is done with the top 2 players, Lazy and Ashnod. So at 5-5 after that week, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he's in a great position here going forward at number 8. He can go up, he can go down, but he's probably more likely to go up because he has a lot less on his plate as far as scheduling goes. Early losses against Ashton and Lazy getting out of the way, you're always happy if you can just get out. I mean, you want to split with one of those guys, at least one of them. He didn't manage to do that, but 5 wins in his other series. He split versus me. I believe he swept Doso and he swept Mantis. So definitely a great job early by the Fuegos. You know their brand of baseball is aggressive, and you know that Sudo's going to be looking to solidify himself as probably the best Xbox player we have going. So
All right, and getting into 6, 7, or I'm sorry, 7, 6, and 5 here. It's you and your Pine Sox, Dwayne, government, the Zimbabwe government, and the Birdie Bay Birdies, Light Snack.
I'll let you take it away on me. I don't want to talk too much about myself.
All right, so you've moved up 3 spots. I thought you were a little underrated to begin the season anyway. 7-3 start, no matter who you're playing, that's pretty darn good. Pitching's been there. You did get blown up in that one game versus Ted, but I think Ted is going to blow up a handful of people this year anyway. I'd say you started pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in my own offensive output thus far. I'm looking to put up more runs on the board. My pitching has shown through, gotten me deep into ball games, got me a couple wins against guys that I easily could have dropped against. So yeah, I'm more than happy with 3+ wins over my entire win total in season 7 thus far.
And at number 6 is the Zimbabwe government, the absolutely the largest raise on this list at plus 13 spots. Went from dead last to number 6, largely in part to an incredible sweep upset over Astronaut's Coupon.
Yeah, definitely a big jump for government. Bice has always been probably a top 10 level player. Moving from 20 to 6 is absolutely unprecedented, but his showing against Ashnab will do that for you. Let's see if it's a reactive ranking on the behalf of the league office or if it's really going to show through. This week will be pretty telling if you're a government fan. They got 6 big games on their plate. If they can win a few of them, they should be able to stick around up here.
And then here at number 5 is someone that's been on a lot of people's radars. He's been absolutely mashing in both scrims and and of course this opening week. Light Snack and the Birdie Bay Birdies coming in with a 5-1 record, scoring left and right, other than the one loss being a shutout versus Cardiac. The only thing here that may be preventing him from being just outside of that lazy Ashnod tier is the strength of schedule. He has faced people three opponents who are 14th, 17th, and 18th. That's Ryan, Alec, and Cardiac. So we'll see. We'll see what the future has in store for the birdies.
Yes, we will. They are absolutely one of the more high-powered offenses that we have on our hands here. Consistency is going to be key if you're the Beaky Bay Birdies. They need to win against some top teams and see if they can solidify themselves among that pretty surely top four group. Because as we say, with a few of those teams moving down, it's blown wide open here.
All right, and into the top four. We'll see how it shakes out here. Probably no surprises among the top two. It's going to be Mike and the Cooch Potatoes. We'll go over the 4, 3, and 2 here just because of screen space. But the Mike and the Cooch Potatoes, my Beavers, and then Ashnod's Blues. Cooch Potatoes, they looked pretty rough in their first series against J Boobs. But just speaking from my own experience, as soon as I faced him, he looked like a whole different animal. And then everyone saw what he did last night, splitting with the game's best player.
Yeah, for sure. Mike has definitely turned it on here late in the week. It was a little bit of rust to shake off early on against Boops, but he's done a great job of securing a few much needed wins. The split against Boops, the sweep against you, and a split against Lazy, who is widely regarded as the best player in the league. We should definitely see some interesting baseball out of the Cooch Potatoes going forward. I'm eager to see where they decide to establish themselves.
And coming up to my team, I personally couldn't believe I was ranked above Mike. Dwayne, you explained to me that it's more of a mathematical thing than anything.
It's 100% a mathematical thing.
Yeah.
It's based off of the average of 6 rankings from the entire league office. So you fall where you fall.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it. I'm happy with that.
Yep, for sure.
I had a good sweep over BK, good sweep against government. Didn't show out how I would have liked to against Mike. We'll be back. Beavers will be back and better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. Number 3 is definitely a high ranking for the Beavers, something to live up to going forward. Big wins early on in your week against government and BK. Losing against Mike is definitely going to be a tough lump to take, but I can see you going forward and getting wins when you need to. It's going to be, again, week 2 is going to be telling for a lot of these teams.
And then probably no doubts here about the top 2, Ashnod and the Blues, Lazy and the Jackals. Maybe some people would have thought there could be some downward movement for Ashnod, but he's still just too good. Although looking a little exposed against government in that sweep.
Yeah, it seemed like government had done his homework in that game, but going forward, we're going to need to see a little bit more inconsistency out of the Blues to be confident to put somebody else in their place. At 6-2, and I believe 41 home runs through 8 games, they're mashing the ball. You can't really discount a team like that.
Yeah, and then Lazy, he did drop the game to Mike last night. I'm sure he didn't want it to go that way, but still, in my mind, unquestionably the game's best player.
Yeah, absolutely. Lazy completely came out in Game 2 last night against Mike, mercied him up after taking a lump in Game 1. Nobody's undefeated after XBL Week 1, so that's absolutely a surprise, but it is not something that wrong foots me too much because we know there's a lot of parity to be had in this league. But yeah, the Black Jackals going forward should be a consensus number 1. If they have another good week, we will see if these 1 and 2 decide to shake things up going forward. We'll see who's able to maybe win a few games going forward.
And those are your power rankings for the XBL after 1 week of action. We'll have a new list for you a week from now. This list is now available for you all to look at if you should want to. You can head over to the league's website and check them out. And now that we've gone over that, we are going to get into our last little segment here, which is the top, a list of highlights from the last week that we have curated. We were going to try and rank them, but we decided to just play them in no particular order. So without further ado, we'll get into the top 5 clips of the week. And starting us off here, 2 outs here in a AAA game for Corruptions. He's down 2 runs. He's got 2 runners on. And Dwayne, he's going to come up with a clutch 8th inning homer here.
Yes, and against the Warwick Anchors, like you said, down 2 runs. This is a big moment for someone like Corruptions trying to establish himself in the XBL AAA as a threat against an XBL veteran like Job, as that one was completely sent to left center field to the deepest part of the motor yard.
Yep, just clearing that home run in left center, he was probably hyping, especially with the contact swing. And that's going to send us into our 4th play here. This, I'll let you take this one.
What you see here is the boys stepping out for what looks to be the bottom of the ninth inning, and Mike taking the first pitch, Oppo Taco absolutely blasting at 388 feet to put the dagger into the hearts of Weaver's Beavers. Mike with his fist raised after that one.
Yeah, Couch Potatoes knocking out the Beavers with one swing of the bat from my boy Timbo Slice. Let's go to the next clip already. This one's going to be from yourself against Alec. Hugh Jazz behind the plate, climbing the backstop there to make an insane catch.
Yeah, I don't know how a man that heavy is able to get up there with one arm hang and then catch the ball in his catcher's mitt, but, go figure. I pretty much yelled about as loud as I possibly could when he caught this ball. And and in a competitive game, you want to see your defense show out like that. So yeah, I was pretty pleased. Let's see what's number two's got in store for us.
Yeah, this was from our first primetime, nighttime XBL match of the week. Pseudo trying to make the comeback against Ashnod. He goes with the 2-out safety squeeze. I can't say I've ever seen it before.
Yeah, this has to be in our plays of the week because the absolute audacity for Pseudo to drop this bunt down. But he drops it down because he knows he's going to drop it down well. He puts it right where he needs to. The defense can't get to it. He's got an absolute burner on the base paths. Huge squeeze. Huge squeeze.
Yeah, Fuego's baseball coming in there. And our final play of the week, remember, no particular order here, but this is going to be Chad Chaddington for the Stags, robbing Ashnod of a home run in epic fashion.
Yeah, the range of the center fielder there to go back quite a few feet. He's probably running back about nearly 100 feet to get to this ball, to the deepest part of Sakura Hills, to rob a home run. Even though the Stags walked away with the loss in that game, to rob a home run, that was absolutely huge for No Hummus in a season where he hasn't had quite a bit to write home about just yet.
And that's going to conclude our little highlight reel. Remember, guys, if you want a bigger sample size for these clips, we need more submissions. Make sure you send them into the XBL highlight reel. We will consider all clips at the end of each week, and maybe going forward we will have better. We'll try and rank them going forward. We'll see. It just depends on the sample that we get.
Yeah, just always remember to sanction games, please, for clips. There was a lot of stuff from scrimmages. It's kind of hard to discern what's what. But going forward, if you take clips of the big moments that happen in your season games, send them on over to me, put them in the highlight reel. Me and Weaver can always rank them out, and you'll see them in the next weekly roundup, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for our first ever XBL weekly roundup. What an awesome week one. I'm so glad we got to cover some of the primetime games. I had a blast in my own debut games as well, and I can't wait for week two.
Can't wait for week two, Weaver. Thanks again for doing this. Thank you all for hanging out, and good luck in week two. Go out there, play some fun baseball, get some wins, everybody. Have a great night.